There's something interesting going on that I want to share. It's a little crazy, but I just can't get over. And I want to see if I can communicate. So the story is about Osono, a Japanese woman who lived about 150 to 100 years ago. And he passed away, or she passed away, but she was illiterate. She was the lowest level of the society, got married, and got lots of people who admired or respected her. And yet she's one of those ordinary person. And this is part of the Myokonin, Shin Buddhism. I'm so interested because I'm interested in the people at the basic level. I like the people at the basic level because I can communicate. I worked at the corporate ladder and at the top level, and I may be able to communicate, but I always have this suspicious feeling and I have to read much deeper than what I see on surface. But the shop floor people or the down to the earth people are so open, and that's just no stress to talk and can't say anything. And I want to do the same on the YouTube if possible. So this is a topic that is not fit for those intellectuals, but they may be interested, but they won't get it probably. I'm part of that semi-intellectual because I have to use the word and logic to talk with those, big wigs, and I've done it. And they are so influential. But this is a case of an influential person that she lived out of nowhere. Tawara is the town near Osaka, I believe. And let me see if I can explain it. At the bottom line of it is that she got so much respect. And there are many followers even visiting her from all parts of Japan. That's what I heard about. And there's one YouTube video I listened to maybe 10 times. And there's only one, segment, maybe 25 minutes YouTube. And there's this magical power that she exhibited, talking a basic thing. So I've known her because I was interested in Myokonin, because Daisetsu was also interested. And they are like Zen, but in a different dimension. Zen maybe a little bit more the brainier, and this is Shin Buddhism more in the emotional feeling. And she is on this side, but she must have some street smart to be able to cut through the logic to get the point. And one of her saying, because I have this document I created, this is in Japanese, and I see it's done, I think, 2004, so 20 years ago, I had it. The title of this is Hai means yes. Osono-san no Hai, Hai of Osono is the title. Because to capture her way of doing things is say approval to everything. Meaning you can call it passive, not respond or reject or anything like that, but to find the solution by acceptance. And I'm saying this, that for her to get it, how much of her learning, training had gone through? What was the turning point? And I cannot get using your brain to answer that question. So she didn't write anything because she was illiterate, but the people around her wrote up her saying. And the funny thing is that in, I think, a temple or someplace, they have this kind of like a memorial ceremony for her for more than 100 years. The one who is nowhere in the radar screen of the highest ranking of, masters of this or that. And I'm capturing her saying as, yes, hi. So there's some examples. Someone asked her, what can I do? I hear this and that, but I'm hesitant, and I want to hear what you may say. And her response to that is like, oh, you are like that. I am the same way. But when that, unsettled feeling, but it's okay, said by Amida Buddha, who is basically helping people, compassion of the Buddha, and even the sinners can come to be saved. That's the belief of this Namu Amida Butsu, the Shin Buddhism, Shinran, started. Origin goes back to India, but that's sort of like a flower, bloomed in Japan to have this. And the Shin Buddhism went into the layman, at the bottom structure level of people in Japan, where the Zen was a little bit more on the high end of the structure, in the intellect. The other one is easy to understand. Many of the Myokonin doesn't understand how to write or read. So Osono is one of them, and then that's what she said. Just come as it is, and that may be not bad, was her answer. And the guy asked, so you talk about important thing is the faith, but I don't understand when I can get it. And her answer is, to get the belief is to say hi, meaning just accept it, yes. So the title of Hi of Osono is precisely her accepting everything as it is. So I can talk about the logic and the reasoning in a way, but let me finish this. So I think this is her ending poem that is that Lily is as if to bend her head and yes and yes. So the point is that the shape of the lily flower has its weight, so that it is always saying yes and yes. So that's her famous saying, in my view. And the other case is that she was asked how to deal with this, and she said, you have the same problem, but that's all I can think of you to try this out for 2 or 3 years. She said, osatsukae nashi, meaning there's nothing wrong, I'll accept it, meaning hi. In Japanese, I'm trying to translate. So if you do that, everything happens and you get frightened or upset or whatever, just accept it. And do that for 2 or 3 years. And the story goes, this person understood that because she's so famous, so she understood this is what, it's not difficult to do. So she did it, but 2-3 days later she came back and said, I couldn't. And then Osono said something, but at the end she said, and after her talking about how can you do it, and she maybe shouted out or just said that, say hi, accept it, no problem. So that's her teaching in a way, and that kind of corresponds to, I'm having this document, Ryokan, who is a Zen monk. He's one of the famous saying is, people are concerned about death and how do I deal with it? And one of his saying is that when you are to die, just die. That's his saying. So if there's something that troubles you, why is it? What is the cause of it? If it's got caught somewhere in your brain, can you let go of it? That's my comment. And then there was a case of her dropped by mistake into the sewage pond or something. And out of that, she popped up, came out, and she said, well, we go to hell and go to hell. Now I found what it is like to go down there. And she said, Namu Amida Buddha, and then went on. So I'm saying that the high of Osono has the idea of a koan, in Zen koan. But if I say something about it, the acceptance is passivity. And when the passivity becomes the real absolute passivity, that is the same as the absolute affirmation. If I put my intellectual sense of what I digest after, listening to the video, 10 times or whatever, and pondering, is that she's just go with the way of nature. That's what I say quite often. That's where we came from. That resolved everything. That's the law of universe prevailing. So go back there. And that's what she means by high. She wouldn't say that, but that's what I said. So high is acceptance and humility and determination, dedication, and it's a snow, meek, sincere and truthful. And if you say in philosophical level, it's the no self. So everything goes with high, and if that's how it comes down to you to be, it's like a transparency. Everything is clear, and the mind is very transparent. And here's the comment from Meister Eckhart from Christianity, because I remember this and I thought I added. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. That's Meister Eckhart. So that's the story. What's the point of it? When I talk about the samadhi, it's no self, no mind. And you can say it's high to the way of the universe or way of nature. You are in the mind, busy, but samadhi is unhook yourself so that you realize there's a way of nature that is manifesting everywhere, including ourselves. And the mind is playing with this, eating the fruit of knowledge and get occupied in there. So unhook from being in the mind, go into the different dimension, so to speak. It's the opposite of using the mind. No mind, and therefore no self. And that's the universe that you are from and you are in, the law of nature. That's where you find the peace. Because that's the absolute state of being, which you may be able to access if you do this string of saying hi to everything happens, like Osono says. But what's wonderful is that Osono says, I'm like that. I just couldn't, resolve easily. But still, because of Amida Buddha, I have a way, and that's the way. And there's one more saying before I finish this, is that when she passed away, I have to think about in English how to say this. She said something like, oh, what a waste of time I have in my life, or something like that. And you can interpret in your way, but I thought I can understand that because we waste lots of time and energy because our mind caught up and worrying this and that. And when you are on the other shore, so to speak, the Buddhist analogy, if you are awakened, there's none of that. It's only in your mind. So the whole point of this is not just the logic that we need to play with, which can be helpful to point the direction, but it's a matter of practice, as it happened in Osono's case. And for her to be in that state must have been something that happened to come to that conclusion, the way. And still says, I get upset here and there, but she also know the other angle to shed the light or reflect herself. We can laugh at it, but it's not the laughing story. Because we don't want to cry. Maybe we can laugh at it. Hi. Thank you. Acceptance. Christ said something like, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing, or some such thing. It's also acceptance. And I think that's enough. Thank you. Osono.